Hi friends, welcome back to another yoga video, and today we have a 50-minute practice based around pyramid pose. Today's props that you will need are either blocks or a stool or perhaps a chair. So let's begin lying on our back. So find a nice comfortable position for you to rest, whether that's with the legs extended or with the knees bent and the feet on the floor. So take a few breaths to settle into the space. Notice here the shape that you have created on the floor. The distance between the feet. The relationship of the arms to the torso. And then the relationship of your lower back to the floor. And as you become aware of this space, perhaps, between the lower back and the floor, is there a large space or a small space? And maybe even that space is different when you compare the right side to the left side. And as you begin to broaden that awareness of how the back body connects to the floor, then start to notice the pelvis here. Does one side of the pelvis feel more deeply connected to the floor? And perhaps there's a little shift of the pelvis as one side feels a little more lifted. Send that same awareness then up into the shoulders, the upper trunk here. What's the relationship there to the floor? Do you notice any similar things here? Is one side a little more grounded and connected to the floor? Just noticing any asymmetry in how the back of your torso connects to the floor. And taking that information then, let's store that away and revisit it at the end of our practice. So let's begin by drawing the knees up and placing the feet onto the floor. So let's begin by taking a little bit of arch and flatten. So as we inhale, the lower back will rise away from the floor, and as we exhale, the lower back will connect to the floor. And just taking that little bit of movement here, that vertebral wave. Noticing here if there's a difference or discrepancy between how the shoulders connect to the floor when we perform this movement. Does one side feel a little more connected than the other? What's the movement here in the head and the neck? And specifically as you do this movement, let's think about the trunk here. So as you exhale, does one side of the trunk have a deeper connection to the floor? Just noticing. And the next time then that you inhale, let's find a nice neutral position. Take the hands, interlace the fingers, draw the hands towards the back of the head. As you exhale the breath, draw the head and the shoulders up, elbows will pull in. Inhale, let the elbows open wide as you lower to the floor. Exhale, rise. Inhale, release. And the next time that you lift the head and the shoulders, draw the right knee in towards the elbows. And as you inhale, release back down to the floor. Exhale, next breath, the left knee will draw in. Inhale and release. I'm just doing a few here. And noticing here, what's the relationship of the knees towards the elbows or towards the chest? Does one come in a little more than the other? And the next time that your left knee draws in will be the last time. As you release back down to the floor, take a breath. Let the arms release then back down to the sides. And as they release to the sides, feel the upper arms connected to the floor. Bend the elbows and have the fingers lifted up towards the ceiling here. Draw the feet a little closer in towards your bum. Feet are around hip distance apart here. As you inhale your next breath, lift the pelvis up and away from the floor. Hold it at the top, take a pause, and then very slow, release the pelvis back down to the floor. Take a breath. And then next inhale, lift the pelvis up and away from the floor. And as you exhale, release. And it doesn't have to be a huge lift here, just slowly releasing down. Full breath. And then one last time, we're going to inhale, rise up, take the pause at the top, and then super slow, release all the way back down. Let the arms relax as the pelvis connects. Walk the feet a little wider and let the knees sway from side to side. As the knees come back into center, let them rest. All right, and from here, let the legs lengthen out. We're going to roll over onto our belly. So find yourself face down onto the floor. So as we come face down on the floor, rest the hands underneath the forehead here. Let's take a little pause. Separate the feet here. Feel the front body connected to the floor. And feeling the thighs and the knees connected to the floor, then bend the knees and lift the feet up towards the ceiling. From here, I want you to lower the feet about halfway back towards the floor. Pause. So feel that they may be around 6 or so inches away from the floor here. And then very slowly release the feet back towards the floor. Lengthening those legs back out and letting them rest. Take a breath. And then again, I want to lift the feet around 6 inches, just like we did before. And then very slowly release back down. One last time then, lift the feet at that few inches away from the floor. So remembering here that less is more. And then super slow, release all the way back down. Once you get back down, take a breath. From here, keep the feet where they are, but bring the hands kind of underneath the shoulders here. So this time the legs are going to stay down on the floor. As you inhale your breath, draw the shoulders back towards the spine and lift the head, the shoulders and the chest away from the floor. So I'm not asking here to crank the neck back. The head stays in line with the spine, and then slowly release the head and the shoulders back to the floor. Take a breath. Again, inhale, shoulders will draw back, lift the head, the chest, and the shoulders away from the floor. And then slowly release back down. All right, one more time then. As you inhale, shoulders back, lift the head, the chest, and slow release. Take a breath. Okay, so we're going to put those two movements together so that the next time that you inhale, the feet will lift that 6 inches, the head and the shoulders will lift. We'll take a pause here and then slowly release back down to the floor. Inhale, lift away, head and shoulders and the feet, and slowly release back down. One last time then. Lift up. And then very gently come back down to the floor. Relax, take a breath. The hands are underneath the shoulders. Pull the navel to the spine and push yourself up. Come over onto all fours. Now I like to have a little bit of cushion for my knees on all fours, but you find the one that feels comfortable for you. So take the hands a little bit further forward of the shoulders, spread the fingers wide, and just take a little bit of cat and cow here. Starting to work again on this flexion and extension of the spine. And as you inhale your next breath, find neutral here. So from here, send the right leg back behind you. Lift the foot away from the floor. As you exhale your breath, draw the knee in towards the chest, and I'd like you to look towards that knee. And as you inhale, send the leg back and let the face kind of look again here towards the front edge of your mat. Exhale, draw the knee in. Inhale, send the leg back. One more time then, draw the knee in. And then send it back. As you send it back, hold it back. And then drop the knee to the floor. Take a reset here onto the hands and the knees. And let the left leg lift and lengthen towards the back, lifting it away from the floor. Exhale the breath. Draw the knee in towards the chest and look to the knee. And inhale and lengthen back. As you do 2 more, then I want you to notice if this leg draws closer towards the chest than the other. After that second one, you'll extend it back, you'll hold it back, take a pause, drop the knee to the floor, and just take a sit back into child's pose. Navel to spine, letting the hips sink back towards the heels. Come back up to the hands and the knees again, spreading the fingers nice and wide, tucking the toes, lift the hips up and find downward facing dog. As you settle into our first dog, let's play with the feet. Take a little pedal through the feet here. Walk your dog. Settle into your dog here. The knees are soft, the heels might be lifted away from the floor. Bend the knees and step the feet up towards the front edge of your mat, finding forward fold. If the hands don't reach the floor, rest them on blocks or a stool or a chair, or bring the hands towards the shins. Soften the knees, pull the navel to the spine, unfold, rise all the way up, let the arms reach out and up, and then bring the hands to the heart center. Okay, so from here I've got a couple of props. I've got a stool, this can also be a chair, and I've also got blocks. So either of these work. Use what you have. So from here, thinking about the feet being hip distance apart, send the right leg maybe about 18 inches back behind you. 18 inches to 2 feet back behind you. From here, the front knee will bend and then reach the arms up and take warrior 1. Lengthen through the left leg and then just rebend. And do that a couple of times. We're just marking the pose here. And on that third time, lengthen the leg and hold the length. Bring the hands down towards the pelvis here. And I want you to slide the hands a little further down into this kind of little bikini line of our yoga pants here. And from that bikini line, hinge forward over that front leg. Let the hands then come either to the thigh if you have no props, the shin. Maybe you rest the hands on your chair, the blocks, or the floor. You choose your variation. I like to use the blocks and the chair because I can bend my elbows and rest my head on the chair. And that way I can focus less on reaching the floor and more about surrendering towards the floor. Soften the knees, step the feet up towards the front of your mat, and then unfold, navel to spine, rise up, reach up, and bring the hands to the heart center. From here, let's step the left foot back behind us. Drop the heel towards the floor. Remember, we're just marking the pose. It doesn't have to be a huge step back. Maybe it's just 24 inches. It's 2 feet away. Bend the front knee. We're not going deep into warrior one here. Let the arms rise up. Feel where that back foot connects to the floor. Feel a little bit of asymmetry in the pelvis. Asymmetrical pose, asymmetrical pelvis. Lengthen through your front leg and then bend. Lengthen through the front leg and bend. And then the next time, hold the length. Bring the hands again to the pelvis. Feel again that little crease through the hip. And as you exhale, fold over that crease. Make it a deep valley and fold over that front leg. The hands connect either to your chair, your blocks, or the floor. On your next exhale, soften the knees and step the back foot in. Unfold, soften the knees, navel to spine, rise up and bring the hands to the heart. So now we get to play with a little bit of a deeper pyramid pose or parsvottanasana. So from here, again, the feet are separated, soften the knees, step the right foot again back behind you. Now take a little bit of a bigger step. Now as you do that, you can already see that my torso wants to rotate to the long edge of my mat, and I want to come into more of a warrior two type move. To avoid that temptation, let's send the right leg out to the right side and bring the left leg more to the left side of our mat. From here, can we revolve the torso to the front of our mat? Maybe even lift the back heel and send it more towards the back of our mat. Now, if that is not available for you, maybe the back calf here starts to scream and give you some feedback, you can lift the back heel away from the floor. From here, the front knee will bend just as before and the arms will reach up. Maybe that back heel connects to the floor and you can find a full variation of warrior one here. But notice, is that available with the back heel connected to the floor and the foot somewhat pointing forward towards this right front corner? So from here, lengthen through that front leg. Can doing that drop the back heel towards the floor? Notice. And then exhale, reach forward, push into that back foot, fold over the legs here. Connect the hands either to your chair or to your blocks. Now I asked you before to notice the pelvis. So notice again here. Is the pelvis shifted towards the right side or the left side of your mat? And notice that, and can you settle it directly in the middle? So this very centered space in the middle of your mat. Let the elbows soften again and surrender the torso towards the floor. Maybe the hands can start to connect a little more deeply to the floor, because the further apart our feet are front to back, the closer the torso can come, perhaps towards the floor. Soften the knees, step the back foot in with the front foot, and unfold, rise up. Bring the hands to the heart center. Let's do the other side. Let's send the left foot back behind you. Maybe it's a bit of a bigger step now. The front knee will bend over the ankle. The arms will rise. And again, thinking about warrior one here, the torso revolving towards the front of your mat. That back left heel might lift and push more towards the back of your mat. Is that available? Does the heel need to lift to find that internal rotation? Lengthen through the front leg. Maybe the back heel now can connect to the floor because you've lengthened this front leg and the pelvis is drawn back. Exhale, hinge forward over the front leg. Can the hands connect to the chair, the blocks, or the floor? And again, can you allow the head, the shoulders, and the arms to surrender? What's the relationship of the pelvis here to the long edges of your mat? Is it pushed out far to the right? Is it pushed out far to the left? And can you settle it right in the middle? Can it be even between the legs? Soften the knees, step the foot in towards the front of your mat. Soften the knees, inhale, rise, reach, and bring the hands to the heart. And for the final version, I want us to play with lifting that back heel. So grab yourself a blanket, a block, or even a book. So we're going to mark it first, because we need to know where this blanket needs to be. So as you're at the front of your mat, send your right leg back behind you. So I can see that I need to send my blanket back a little bit more, right? So that blanket will come back a little bit further. That could be your book. We're going to lift the heel up onto the blanket here. So the right leg will step back, and you'll place that heel on your book, your blanket, or your something, so that you can allow that internal rotation of the back leg. The front knee will bend, and you'll find that the pelvis is a little less asymmetrical. Reach the arms up. Lengthen through the front leg, and as you exhale, hinge forward over your front leg. Maybe the hands rest on your chair, maybe they rest on the blocks, maybe they rest onto the floor. How does lifting the back heel make this pose feel different for you? Again, think about the position of the pelvis here. Are you pushing into the left side of your mat? And can you settle the pelvis back into the middle of your mat here? Soften the knees, and then step the feet back into the front of your mat. Unfold. Bring the hands to the heart. So here's the interesting thing, is when we step back with our left foot, Don't assume that it's going to have that blanket or book in the same position. We have a tendency to have our bodies be asymmetrical. For me, this side, it needs to be a little bit further back. So find your variation here. Can you step back with that left foot? Drop the heel onto your blanket and then draw that right knee forward. Feel the pelvis a little less asymmetrical than it would be normally. Reach the arms up. Lengthen through your right leg, and from the hips here, hinge forward. Fold over that front leg. Having that blanket or book gives us that opportunity to push the heel down into something solid. Maybe the hands connect to the floor. And can you relax the head and the shoulders here? How different is this side to the previous side? Where's your pelvis in relationship to the edges of your mat? Soften the front knee, lift the back heel, and then step the back foot in with the front foot. Soften the knees, rise all the way up, reach the arms up, bring the hands together at the heart center. So move the props away from the front of your mat. And let's just come back down to the floor. So come back up and over onto the hands and the knees. Spread the fingers wide and take a little bit of cat and cow. As you inhale your next breath, find a nice neutral position. Draw the navel to the spine. Tug the toes, lift the hips up, and take downward facing dog. From the right hip then, float the right leg up and away from the floor. Bend the knee and send that knee through towards the front of your mat. Plant the shin down on the floor so that there's a little bit of external rotation here, so that the right knee is towards the right hand, but the right foot is towards the left side of your mat. Lengthen that left leg towards the back of your mat. The knee will drop to the floor. The pelvis is somewhat neutral here. So we're avoiding that little drop of the pelvis towards the right side of our mat. Let's take a breath. One more breath. Drop the right hip to the floor. Draw the left knee through. Place the left foot firmly down onto the floor. Hinge yourself forward. Use the hands to push off if you need to. Connect the hands to the floor. Step the right foot back. Step the left foot back. Lift the hips back up. Settle into downward facing dog. Float the left leg up and away from the floor. Exhale, draw the left knee through and bring the left knee towards the left hand, the left foot towards the right hand. And then send that right knee to the floor, lengthen that right leg back.
And we're staying up here so that we get a little bit of length through the hip flexor on that extended leg side. Getting some length now through the front body. Take one more breath. Drop the left hip to the floor, draw the right knee through, place the right foot down on the floor. Use the hands if you need to push forward. Send the left leg back. Take runner's lunge. Push into the hands. Send the right leg back. Lift the hips up. Take downward facing dog. Bring both knees to the floor, sit the hips back, take child's pose. Go back up to the hands and knees and sweep the legs in front here. So as you sweep the legs in front, just let the hands rest down by the sides. Draw both knees to the right side. Kind of crisscross the legs here a little bit so that this left leg lies on top of the right leg. The knees point to the right, the torso will rotate to the right hand will come behind, and the left hand might want to rest on the left thigh. If there's a big space between that right hand and the floor, you can use a block underneath the hand here, or just lean a little further back. That's okay. Unwind, come back up. Let the knees come up and over to the left. The trunk will rotate to the left. The left hand will drop behind towards the back of your mat. The right hand will come towards the left thigh. Again, maybe you use the block. Maybe you just lean back a little bit here. Unwind. Bring the knees back into center. So from here, set yourself up onto your back with the knees bent and the feet on the floor.
So from here, take a little windshield wiper from side to side. This is one of my absolute favorite things to do. As the knees come through center, rest them. And begin to take that little vertebral wave that we started our practice with. Inhaling, arching the back away from the floor, exhaling and drawing it down. And comparing the move here to the same movement that we had at the beginning of our practice. How does it feel different here? As you exhale your next breath, pull the navel to the spine and draw one knee at a time and bundle them in towards the chest. Maybe just take a little rock from side to side. Just giving the lower back a little bit more love. And let the feet then return to the floor. Let the legs lengthen back out across your mat. And find the same position that you began your practice, so that we have that opportunity to revisit that little memory file that we had at the beginning of how our body related to the floor. The space between our lower back and the floor. The relationship of the pelvis and the shoulders here in gravity. Just notice if anything feels different. Embracing any changes that you feel here. Then you're more than welcome to remain or find a more comfortable position for shavasana. If you have chosen to use a chair, stool, or something with a little bit more height, perhaps you're resting the legs onto that surface. As you settle in to your comfortable position, allow the eyes to close. Release the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Let the pelvis get heavy. Settle into your breath. As you notice the length of your inhale and the length of your exhale, notice which, if any, is longer. Just letting yourself rest and breathe. Start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Letting your body move and stretch. Pulling the navel to the spine, drawing the knees up and in towards the chest. Roll to one side and take a few breaths on your side. Using that top hand, pushing into the floor, pull the navel to the spine, unfold, tuck in the chin, let the head be the last thing to lift. Come into a seated position, resting with the spine aligned and the eyes closed. Taking a nice deep inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Deep inhale. Exhale. One more big deep inhale. And a loud exhale. Resting here. Sky above. Earth below. Peace within. Namaste.